All right, welcome back. So in this explainer, we're really going to lay the groundwork for hunting down that pesky thing we all deal with, radio frequency interference, or RFI. You know, it's all about learning how to classify the problem before you even think about picking up a tool.
Okay, so this is part 2 of our big 15-part series, and it's all based on that really comprehensive report from Virtualization Options LLC. We designed this stuff specifically for you, the RF techs out there on the front lines. Today, we're jumping right into the material from Chapter 2, which is all about understanding the environment. You know, the very world where this interference actually lives and breathes. So before we really get into the weeds, I want to kick things off with a question to get you thinking. I mean, as a tech, you're working with this real estate every single day. So what is it? What's the most valuable but completely invisible real estate in the entire world?
You got it. It's the radio frequency spectrum. If that's what you were thinking, you're dead on. It's this invisible battlefield, right? It's where everything happens. All our wireless communications, from the supercritical two-way radio stuff, all the way to those industrial IoT sensors popping up everywhere.
So let's talk about the crowded spectrum, because this is the key thing to remember. This resource is absolutely finite. The spectrum isn't some infinite ocean we can just keep filling up. It's a carefully allocated natural resource, and man, it is getting more crowded every single day. Yeah, think of it like a city, just like the slide says. You've got these regulatory bodies, like the FCC here in the States, acting as city planners. They're managing this whole space to prevent total chaos. They assign specific frequency bands, or neighborhoods, for everything. We're talking about, your two-way radios over in the VHF bands, your land mobile radio in the UHF bands, and of course all that Wi-Fi and industrial sensor stuff crammed into the ISM bands. It is one complex and very regulated city.
All right, in-band versus out-of-band. These are the two fundamental categories of interference. So when these unwanted signals, these troublemakers, invade our nice regulated city, they create interference. And that interference falls into one of two main buckets. And listen, this is probably the first, most fundamental distinction you have to make when you're out in the field.
So here it is, the big question. As a technician, this right here should be your very first question. Where's the interference relative to my signal? Is the threat coming from inside the house, so to speak, or is it coming from somewhere else? Seriously, answering this one question is going to dictate your entire game plan from here on out.
And this slide just nails the breakdown. On the left, you've got in-band interference. I love this description, the enemy within. It's literally competing with your signal on the exact same frequency, which makes it a real pain to filter out. Then, on the right, you've got out-of-band interference, the noisy neighbor. This is that super powerful signal from way outside your channel that's just so loud it completely overloads your receiver's front end, basically making it deaf to the signal you're actually trying to hear.
Okay, the three behaviors. So now that we've talked about where the interference is, we got to look at how it behaves over time. Characterizing it by its timing and patterns, well, that's what gives us our next set of really critical clues.
First up, we've got transient interference. Think of things like arc welding, like in this picture, or a big motor starting up. These are those brief, totally sporadic bursts that are just, so frustrating to track down, right? They pop up for a few milliseconds, maybe a couple seconds, and then, poof, they're gone.
Then you have the opposite, really, continuous interference. This is that steady, persistent signal that's just always there. Now, it's still a problem, for sure, but the good news is it's not hiding from you. You can always find it. This is your classic noise from something like a switching power supply or some kind of oscillating circuit.
And finally, we've got intermittence interference. Now, this one is really interesting because it follows a pattern. It's reoccurring, tied to specific events. The huge clue here is timing. It could be an HVAC system kicking on and off, or maybe a piece of machinery running its cycle. The point is, if you can figure out the schedule, you can pinpoint the source.
Okay, so let's just quickly recap those three temporal behaviors. You're looking for something that is either transient, totally unpredictable, or it's continuous, always on, nice and persistent, or it's intermittent, it follows a pattern. And what's so important to get is that each one of these requires a completely different mindset to hunt down effectively. All right, let's talk about characterizing the enemy. This is where we bring it all together. This is the part where you, the technician, stop being just a tech and you become a detective. You're building a complete profile of your suspect before the real hunt even begins.
And here it is. This is the whole shebang. This is the main takeaway. By classifying the interference by its location, is it in-band or out-of-band, and its behavior, you build a complete profile of the problem. It means you can walk onto a site and know, okay, I'm hunting for an intermittent out-of-band signal. And just having that profile, man, that tells you a massive amount about where you even need to start looking.
So now you've got this profile. You can identify the threat, you know what you're looking for, which of course leads to the next logical question: how do you actually start the hunt? What tools and skills do you need? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into in part 3. We'll get into all the essential skills, the knowledge, and yeah, the cool tools of the trade. I'll see you there.